Okay, continuing our analysis of Ted Cruz's 2022 NRA speech.
It requires a sick soul to drive a truck into a crowded sidewalk, to plant a bomb at a marathon, or to fly a plane into a building. It requires a sick soul to open fire in a movie theater, or in a church, or in a school. A speeding automobile in the hands of a madman is deadly, as is a jet airplane.
That is an excellent point. It does take a sick soul to do those things, but Democrats are laser focused on the weapon of choice rather than the perpetrator committing the act.
Tragedies like the events of this week are a mirror, forcing us to ask hard questions, demanding that we see where our culture is failing. Looking at broken families, absent fathers, declining church attendance, social media bullying, violent online content, desensitizing the act of murder in video games, chronic isolation.
Okay, now these are not only outstanding points he just made. What he just described, I believe, is the main driver of the violence that is going on today. Modern conveniences and all things internet have created a generation of people that are increasingly isolated from human contact. They are holed up in their bedrooms, away from all human contact, and escaping online. Consequently, their social skills and mental health is rapidly deteriorating, and they might not even be aware of their mental health deteriorating.
Prescription drug and opioid abuse and their collective effects on the psyche of young Americans is both complicated and multifaceted. It's a lot easier to moralize about guns and to shriek about those you disagree with politically. But it's never been about guns. We know that places with some of the most restrictive gun laws, places like Chicago and Baltimore and Washington, D.C., they don't have less gun violence. Indeed, they contain some of the most dangerous communities on the face of the earth. We also know that there are communities in places like Texas with extraordinarily high rates of gun ownership and extraordinarily low rates of gun violence. We know that keeping guns away from citizens who follow the law does very little to keep them away from criminals who ignore the law.
That's a great point. And Democrats swear up and down that gun control laws work and make us more safe. But you can pass 100 gun laws, a criminal does not follow the law. So for those of us that do, we're just going to be defenseless and at their mercy.
We know that there are no more guns per capita in this nation today than there were 50 or 100 years ago. That's worth underscoring. In 1972, the rate of per capita gun ownership in the United States was 43%. In 2021, the rate is 42%. The rate of gun ownership hasn't changed. And yet, acts of evil like we saw this week are on the rise. And we have to ask ourselves why.
That is something that gun control politicians never seem to have an answer for. Gun control laws have gotten stricter over time, not looser. So why weren't there school shootings left and right back in the 80s, back in the 70s? If availability of guns are the reason for these mass shootings, as Democrats claim it is, then there should have been school shootings left and right back in the day, but there wasn't. And so we're forced to look at society today and what has been contributing to the rise of this. It is just downright lazy to blame this all on the guns.